Twitter has started testing out 4,000 character tweets. Oh, baby. That's a big difference. Under Elon Musk's leadership, the end of short form on his social media platform is nigh. The end of short form. Oof. That's weird because I also, speaking of nostalgia, I'm feeling some of that here for some reason. Nostalgia around the short character limit, which was originally determined by SMS. It was originally 140 characters. It was a consequence of technological limitation at the time of how tweets were originally posted. And it was kind of novel. It forced people to be concise, but it also created a lot of other things as a consequence.
That's the art?
Well, was that a character limitation, though?
I don't know.
No, that's something separate because you got lots of characters in that stuff.
Yeah.
And that was probably a consequence. What was that of just chat rooms in general?
Yeah. Where
you were limited to text only. The new post format, which allows for tweets more than 14 times longer than the current they upped it to 280 at one point, isn't necessarily a surprise. Elon Musk has been hinting at plans to increase the tweet character limit to 4,000 for months now. In response to a December 2022 tweet, Elon, is it true that Twitter is set to increase the characters from 280 to 4,000? The billionaire simply responded, yes, the billionaire. Don't forget, he's a billionaire.
So this is what it would look like.
Yeah, you'd have to constantly be clicking this show more situation. This is a long tweet. This is a long tweet. This is a long tweet. Click show more there. Yeah, it's a long tweet, all right. I don't know, Will. I'm kind of at a crossroads with Twitter where I really don't feel I'm enjoying my experience right now. I'm going on it a lot, but I'm often just not enjoying it. And a lot, I don't know, because I'm seeing stuff and I know I can click on the tab, which is people, and it's like the same complaint that many people have of social media in general, what becomes algorithmic. And maybe the algorithm's just not good or something like this, but I'm not clicking the people I follow tab. I'm just on the native page. And I find myself just almost, habitually scrolling, just assuming that it's people I follow. I'm still at that stage with Twitter where I haven't fully adapted. And I'm seeing a lot of like fights and a lot of just stuff that they seem so much more generically TikTok or whatever. And
you have Blue? Are you subscribed to Blue?
No, because I have a check mark anyway.
Oh, okay.
But what is your suggestion with that? What would be the difference?
Would it help the algorithm kind of funnel out some sort of
what the suggestion would be is, hey, just tap on the people you follow, right? Tab. But that's enough for me. I don't really spend enough time there to have so much agency over the experience. If tapping Twitter in the first place is not the most common thing that I do, and then if I do, I'm already kind of scrolling and not thinking about where I am to that extent. And the point being is, if most people are doing that, and they must be, because the secondary tab is the alternative, which is people you follow, then I do wonder if people are leaving the platform feeling with an emotion that they're satisfied leaving with, or if they're having something similar occur to my experience. I really am not super into the political stuff on there. I'm not super into the violence or like whatever these extremities are that seem to thrive on social media. And Twitter, compared to YouTube sort of somehow insulates me from that. When I go to my YouTube home feed, it somehow is making novel suggestions that are interesting and less inflammatory. And I know it's like everyone has this interpretation of Twitter anyways, that it's an inflammatory place full of conflict. But now that I'm outside of the people I follow, my exposure to that has increased drastically. So I'm going to have to tweak it. The reason I went to that is because I'm assuming that you open up the character limit, you're just going to get more. You're going to amplify what you already have.
Possibly.
And you can imagine dialogue and conflict and arguments, but now with 4,000 characters.
Gotcha.
So I'm terrified. I hope they can figure out a way to at least hit me with a more novel algorithm that is less focused on those similar and kind of, at this point, boring extremities. It's just so polarizing. I don't know. I'm not the first person to have talked about this, but I'm just feeling that. I was just on Twitter, and this is the feeling I'm getting more and more. Even, and I'm hearing it from others.
But would it be better if you can control the floodgates somehow?
Yeah, but
by having
again,
filters?
no, the average person is not going to train it in that way. You know, you can make it as easy as possible, and maybe you get a little bit of feedback. Like, without incentives, people are going to use it the way it's given to them. And the best example of that is TikTok, which obviously at one point took over the world because people didn't have to do anything except barely move their thumb. People will
Complete randomness.
People will go.
Chaos.
Exactly. They'll go towards convenience, even if they're not enjoying it. You know, how many times you see humans will select for convenience, even if they know it's bad for them. And they'd be like, I could pick something that would be so much better in this circumstance and fulfilling, or like, you just think about food, for example, Will. You could have something nutritious and you could put it together, and maybe there's a tiny bit of effort, maybe 10 minutes more effort. Or you could reach for some type of trash. And you reach for the trash. I'm not saying you specifically, but I'm saying
I do, though.
Well, from time to time. I think you also put something together from time to time.
Yeah.
But it's like we're just so susceptible to falling into that convenience loop and just agreeing to whatever is being showcased and belonging to one particular camp because it's just easier, not because we've given it a tremendous amount of thought. It's a dangerous game.
All right. Let's switch it up a little bit.
Oh, well, like,
are you done with the rant there?
Well, did it make it to rant status?
Yeah.
It made it all the way to rant status.
It's hard to say. I mean, my Twitter experience hasn't been that negative compared to yours. I have been getting a lot of ads just because I haven't subscribed to Blue. But overall, I mean, I don't see like too much conflict.
You know what this reminds me of? It's like people who say, I don't see ads. Have you ever heard this? Like, I don't see ads. I don't even notice them. I'm on Google. I don't even notice the ads. I just buzz right past them.
Yeah.
People make that claim. I think it's bullcrap. You know what I mean? I think, yes, selectively, the way you remember an experience, maybe to a certain extent, but there is some kind of impact. Is subconscious. There is some kind of exposure and impact, even if you scroll past it, even if you have the discipline to say, I don't want to watch that. Just the fact that there was that split second of exposure in your universe selected for, there's residual. To any of these feed-based things where I feel agency outside of shorts, agency is just a little bit higher on YouTube where it's still click-based. Now, I get it on mobile. You have autoplay and a few other things, but you still click. There is still a click to get to kind of prove agency to yourself over what your taste even is. The absence of the click and the social media that's out there that is all pre-click, the whole context is pre-click, takes away your own training of oneself in relationship to taste. The onslaught
and speed
disarms you. I can bring up my favorite, my favorite science fiction prediction from Clockwork Orange from, what was it? 1971. Okay, now we can move on, Will. I just was trying to really articulate my feeling on the matter, and you can call it a rant if you want.
But we can talk about it for like hours, So,
well, somebody
keep it on the rails.
Well, somebody has to, because it's not a common. It may be a common conversation to us in here because we exist in this media landscape. However, I think the general public, it might not be a common conversation. because I think it's an easy one to overlook, and there's a lot of young people as well that haven't known it any other way. So anyway.